It is an established fact that the Bank of Industry is Nigeria's oldest, largest, and most successful development finance institution. The Investment Company of Nigeria Limited, that is better known as Icon Limited, which is one of BOI's precursor institutions, was incorporated in 1959 and thereafter reconstructed to the Nigerian Industrial Development Bank (NIDB) in 1964 and further reconstructed into the Bank of Industry (BOI) in 2001. It is gratifying that 60 years after, the institution is waxing stronger and stronger. Based on its remarkable performances since inception, the Bank of Industry has consolidated its position as a highly reputable brand over an impressive 60-year span, especially since its successful transformation into the Bank of Industry 19 years ago. The bank has year on year continued to post spectacular financial results while making considerable developmental impact on its upward trajectory. Due to the coronavirus pandemic, the bank held its first virtual annual general meeting recently, where its 2019 accounts were presented. It was attended online by BOI's major shareholders, the Central Bank of Nigeria (CBN), Ministry of Finance Incorporated (MOFI), and representatives of the bank's supervising ministry, the Federal Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment, as well as other relevant stakeholders. The chairman of the board, Alhaji Aliyu Abdurrahman Dikko, presided over the meeting virtually. The bank's managing director and chief executive officer, Mr. Oluka Edikpiton, and his executive directors joined the meeting from the bank's boardroom with strict adherence to the global COVID-19 protocols. Please stay tuned as we bring you highlights of BOI's virtual 60th annual general meeting. I am Hadiza Olaoshibiko. Welcome to this week's edition of BOI Impact. At the commencement of the 60th annual general meeting of the bank, the company secretary, Mrs. Olufunlola Salami, read the notice of the meeting.
Notice is hereby given that the virtual annual general meeting of Bank of Industry Limited will be held at 12 noon on Thursday, July 23, 2020, precisely to transact the following businesses. Ordinary business: to receive the audited accounts for the financial year ended December 31, 2019, together with the reports of the directors, auditors, and board appraisers thereon. 2, to declare a dividend. 3, to appoint and/or reappoint directors. 4, to reappoint auditors of the company until the conclusion of the next general meeting, at which accounts are laid before the members. 5, to authorize the directors to fix the remuneration of the auditors. Special business. 6, to fix the remuneration of the non-executive directors. Dated this 18th day of June 2020. Thank you.
That was the company secretary, Mrs. Olufunlola Salami, reading the notice of the 60th annual general meeting. The vision of the Bank of Industry to be Africa's leading development finance institution operating under global best practices is captured in this interview with the MD and CEO, Mr. Oluka Edikpiton.
As a bank, we have survived 60 years. And by God's grace, the bank has done very well. The balance sheet of the bank, after 60 years, is now slightly over 1 trillion naira. The profit for last year was also very good. We made group-wide over 39 billion naira in profit, which was an improvement over 2018. But it's not only the profit we should look at. We need to look at the impact of the bank over the years. We disbursed over 200 billion, in 2019, and we were able to touch over 10,000 different institutions, organizations, directly and indirectly. We must have been responsible for about 1 million people in employment. So for us, it was a good year. Not only that, our disbursements in the SME group went up by about 60%. So the year 2019 was a good year for us.
He disclosed measures that are being put in place by the bank to hedge against the negative effect of COVID-19 pandemic.
Fortunately for us at Bank of Industry, so as if we knew it was going to happen, the first quarter of the year, we were very active, going overseas to try and raise more money to expand our operations. The plan was to raise 750 million euro. It went very well. It was oversubscribed. Eventually, we ended up with about 1 billion euros. The good thing about that fundraising activity was that the money came in 2 weeks before the pandemic started. So we were able to get the money. To try to do the same thing under this climate will have been possible. So we have money for our customers. Secondly, a lot of our customers are struggling. One, because either their businesses have been affected. For instance, if you're in hospitality, hotel business, they've actually closed down. People in oil and gas, major problems. Creative industry. So what are we doing about it? We jointly work with the government to come out with palliatives to make life easier for our customers. By giving them moratorium, by restructuring their facilities, and in many cases now, we're looking at increasing the working capital. Because of the Naira devaluation, the working capital needs has gone up. As much as possible, we want to ensure that we limit the number of companies that might go under because of this pandemic. That's what we are doing. And we believe that with what government is doing in terms of palliatives, what we are doing, what central bank is doing, we'll be able to save a lot of companies. And hopefully, by God's grace, come out of this much better than what people were expecting.
He also gave an insight into the bank's plans.
Like most things in life, there are always winners and losers. As bad as this pandemic is, there are some winners. Telecom companies. People are burning data. People want to stay alive. Of course, people are buying drugs. They're taking vitamins. So that sector is doing well. What are we doing about that sector? Our job is to try to help them to expand. Many of them are expanding, so we're there to ensure that we are giving them the support that is required. Paradigm shift, not totally, but we are looking at the portfolio of what we have. Definitely, some of the risk assessment criteria are going to change because of what is happening. And there are some areas that need support. There are some areas that will not be as aggressive as we used to be. Definitely, this COVID-19 will change things. And some things will be changed permanently. Definitely, it will affect the way we look at credit and the amount of money we disburse in each sector.
In a virtual interview after the AGM, BOI's chairman, Alhaji Abdurrahman Diko, gave assurances that the bank shall continue to support viable businesses that impact positively on the national economy.
The entire world is in some kind of situation which has never been experienced, perhaps in the Second World War. And the challenges are really enormous. The challenges the world over is really overwhelming. And Nigeria being part of the global entities is not an exception. And the Bank of Industry also being a player on the global space is not an exception, really. So the board, right from February, when we sensed the situation, asked the management to come up with a strategy on how to overcome the effect of the pandemic. And thank God, the management and the staff of the bank have been up and doing, and they have come out with strategies and plans to really surmount the situation. Because of the nature of our operation, we are supposed to support all sectors of the economy, because we cannot support one sector at the detriment of the other sectors of the economy. Our own is to really build the entire industrial spectrum of the economy. So we are supporting all sectors, but like you rightly said, we are paying greater emphasis to the health sector because of the pandemic, because we believe the challenges are more in the health sector, even though the situation has affected all the sectors, but the challenges are more for the health sector. So we are really paying more attention to the health sector, but we are supporting the entire spectrum of the Nigerian economy.
It is indeed noteworthy that even before the pandemic, the bank was actually contemplating holding its meetings virtually.
Interestingly, a few meetings, I think in sometimes in December or so, as if we had anticipated this, the board had asked the management to come up with business continuity plan, and we never anticipated this will happen. And honestly, it is part of the plan which the management came up with that has saved the situation for us, because when the situation came up, they just quickly referred to what they had, the virtual thing they had. So they were meeting within the management virtually, and they were sending requests to the board virtually, and nothing really stopped. Nothing stopped. So for us, it is a challenge as well as an opportunity to really activate our business continuity plan.
He said lending to MSMEs increased in 2019 and the bank will do more notwithstanding the effect of COVID-19.
I would like our customers to know that the bank will always be with them, not only in terms of financial support, but in terms of capacity building, training, and so on and so forth. As you might have seen, or as perhaps most of the customers will have seen, as a result of the pandemic, the current economic situation, the bank has been able to reduce interest rates. And we have also been able to extend moratorium on principal repayment and so on and so forth. So we are very much for the customers really, and we are very ready under all circumstances, all situations to support our customers. And we will continue to do that. Our greater emphasis now is really on micro, small, and medium enterprises. This year, when we came in 2017, lending to SMEs was about 8 billion. This year, or 2019, we gave out 56 billion to SMEs. So we are really for the customers, especially for the micro, small, and medium enterprises. We are all out to support them. And going forward, this will be our continued emphasis going forward.
He also had encouraging messages for entrepreneurs.
Right now, we have about 30 locations nationwide, in fact 31 locations nationwide. We just increased the location by, I think, 3 recently. Ebonyi State, I think Plateau, and Adamawa State. We had in Taraba, we had in Borno. So it's only a few states that we are yet to have location. So we are really, wherever they may be, we will be there for them.
The Bank of Industry disbursed 234.5 billion naira to over 10,140 micro, small, medium, and large enterprises across various sectors of the economy. 8.2 billion was also disbursed to over 780,000 beneficiaries of the federal government's Enterprise and Empowerment Program, better known as JEEP, while over 88 million was disbursed to enterprises promoted by Nigerian youth. In all, more than 1,043,733 jobs were created all over the country. Here are some of what our customers think about BOI.
Right from the beginning, when Labana Erasmus is being established, our major supporter then at the initial stage is Bank of Industry. It provided us with a facility that we provided the machinery for the production of these 16 tons per hour plants And they provided these things at the right time, and they have constantly been monitoring and supervising what we are doing at the beginning. As time goes on, they are so, BOI was so comfortable with Labada rice mills, and we only explained to them, this opportunity given to us by Bank of Industry has contributed a lot to our success. It is the brain behind what we have achieved so far. Because number one, from the usage of the facility, we'll be able to expand the capacity of our existing mill. Then we are in the process of adding some machinery in the mills. And once we do that, we will overshoot our capacity.
We have been on this journey on our own, all through from 2001 until 2017, when our relationship with Bank of Industry started. We needed another lift in our business, and Bank of Industry came in at that time. The loan given to us then was able to help us acquire 2 additional vessels, which increased our fish production, which also increased our products that we have to export, of course, which also is helping with the foreign exchange earnings. Aside that, it created more jobs. You know, having been able to get the funds we got from Bank of Industry and the African Development Bank, we were able to do a lot with the loan we got. We acquired the vessels in turn raised our assets, and aside that, we also got a working capital to refurbish all our medium vessels. So with that also, that helped a breakdown of vessels. We're not having downtime. Aside that, we're also able to produce more fish. We increased, our turnover increased, and we also increased the number of staff we have. We increased the agents. The number we had before were fewer. We increased the number of agents we had. Production went high. And we were also able to, along the line, even when we expended all we were given for working capital, we because of the working capital, we were able to get more funds from the turnover of our vessels to even purchase our staff quarters, because that's a core thing for us to be able to also see how we can grow the staff, you know, by way of, you know, this. So all this helped.
You can see from a bank's perspective, a bank is not a charity. Its objective is to make money, essentially. And hospitals are not great bets for making money, and you have to wait a long time. Whereas with certain other things, you can double your money, say, in 6 weeks. And that is where organizations like Bank of Industry come into play. Yes, I'm sure they are there to make money, but they have the opportunity to take a longer term view. They're not looking for an instant return tomorrow. And also they offer much more favorable terms, which the institutions which are fortunate enough to secure funding from the Bank of Industry are better able to meet.
BOI's continued impressive performance is also due to support that the bank receives from its shareholders and stakeholders.
The year 2019 was a very good year for us, but it will have been impossible without the support of our stakeholders. And when we're talking of stakeholders, you know, the major stakeholders are the major owners of Bank of Industry, and there are 2 of them in particular: Central Bank of Nigeria and Ministry of Finance. Their support was tremendous. The CBN governor, the directors, the Minister of Finance, you know, our minister also, all of them were part of the people that made it possible for us in 2019. So I want to thank them on behalf of our board, management, and staff. I want to thank all the stakeholders that contributed to making 2019 a good year for us. And we pray that the support that we got and that our relationship will be deeper in 2020, and together the dream of those that put up BOI many years ago, we achieve it together. So I say thank you to all our stakeholders, to our banks, partner banks. For our facilities, many of the facilities were with bank guarantees. The commercial banks, the merchant banks, we thank all of them. To our customers all over the nation, we thank all of them. And we pray that this 2020, no matter how difficult things are, we will work together with them to make this year 2020 a good year for all of us.
Going by the remarkable 2019 results that were announced at the BOI's recent virtual AGM, it is quite obvious that BOI's hard-working managing director and his dedicated management team have a highly supportive chairman and an enterprising board of directors who are all working tirelessly to deliver on the bank's mandate. The bank's seasoned and diligent professional staff are also ever ready to assist entrepreneurs bring to fruition their potentially viable business plans. They abide strictly by the bank's core values, which are service, professionalism, passion, integrity, resourcefulness, innovation, and team spirit. It's on this note that we'll wrap up today's edition of the program. I am Hadiza Olaoshebiko. Bye for now.